is where the music conversation lives. Volume Sirius XM 106. Don't miss it.
Trunk Nation.
Music talk that rocks.
Musicianship, songwriting. So much to talk about, so little time.
With Eddie Trunk.
Oh, hell yeah. Amazing guy.
Sirius XM Volume.
All right, we are back live from Atlanta here on Sirius XM 106 Volume. It's Eddie Trunk, Trunk Nation, a man that me and many others have been trying to track down now for a couple of decades. The featured guest at the KISS Expo, the sold-out KISS Expo, is Vinnie Vincent, and it's a great honor, and I thank you, Vinnie, for giving me this interview and taking some time out before you get into the Expo. It's great to see you. How are you?
I'm doing great, and the honor is mine. Well, thank you so much for having me. I'm thrilled to be here. Well,
we were just talking off the air, and I was just saying how obviously in the 15, 20 minutes we have, not going to be able to get your full story out, but I guess where I'd like to start with the time that we do have is why now? Why this event? Why here on the 19th day of January did you decide to reconnect with the world, so to speak, and come out and meet all these fans and do a radio interview with me and spend the weekend at this expo answering questions and taking photos? Why was this the right time?
We have to thank Derek Christopher because he was relentless. He contacted Mark Nolan, my best friend and my attorney. I've known Mark for decades, and we go back. And this man right here, Derek Christopher, spent 8 months unrelenting, aggressiveness, but nice. He was a really good guy, and I read his emails. I read everything that he had sent Mark, and then Mark and I talked, and he said, this guy seems like a really good guy. And he was. And when we first talked with Derek, I said, I really like him. If I'm going to do this, I want to do it with somebody I like, with somebody who cares. And my life became small. I wanted it to become as small as I could be, and I became very happy, very content, all I do is I play, I write, I record, I take care of my dogs. I have a really private, peaceful life now, and I haven't had that in a long time. And a lot of fans know a lot of things, but they also don't know a lot of things.
What's the biggest misconception in the last 20 years since you've spoken to people about you, or things that you've heard that people have said about you that have, you want to set the record straight on?
I'm sorry, Markson, speak up? Speak up. I heard a speak up here. The misconception?
The biggest, yeah. I mean, there's been a million things out there about you. What have you heard that you want to set the record straight on?
As many things as I can. The record, the record will be what we're going to get a chance to talk, but to say this is like the book, I don't think we've got enough time for that. But it's a story that when it's ready to be told, you don't want to miss it.
Are you going to write a book?
We've had two book publishers right now that they've been very interested in. So we're talking to them right now. And it's a hell of a book. You don't want to miss it.
I would think not.
I read Kitty Kelly's unauthorized biography of Frank Sinatra, and I'm not a reader, but I couldn't put that book down. So this will top that book.
If in all the time since people have heard from you, even though nobody has seen you or talked to you until now, what have you been doing? Have you been playing? Have you been creating? Have you continued to write? Or did you also put music on the side for a while?
I spent 20 years in hell. And
how so? Can you give us some of the broad strokes of what was...
The broad strokes were very... They could have been not so broad. They could have been, quickly and really amicably could have eliminated 20 years of pain. But
is a lot of this centered around your issues with KISS and your lawsuits and stuff?
I'd say half and half. So I would say pertaining to KISS, these are my friends, These are guys I love, I love them to this day. You know, I've got tremendous. I've got memories that are wonderful. You know, most of them are. Everything was great. There was, not always can you have a band and have a certain. I hate this word magic, but it is a magic. It's something that you can't put it into words. The Beatles had it. The Who have it. Zeppelin had it. You know, I always looked for that and never found it until I met them. And it was just something that this is the glue. This is the ingredients that I've never found. It was like everything you put into a mix that blows up, you know, good and bad, you know?
Well, that's what I was going to say. What percentage would you look at your time with Kiss as being good versus bad? Because
all good. All good.
All good.
All good.
Even on times when I would be at the show on the Lick It Up tour and I'd see Paul yelling at you for playing too much. It was still good?
All good.
Yeah.
All good.
Okay,
yes.
wow.
All good. Look, I was a newcomer, so I appreciate that advice.
Interesting. So you, in retrospect, looking back on it, thought that they were probably kind of in the ballpark on how they felt what you should be doing.
Absolutely. It was a time of being a guitarist, and that's what I wanted to be, you know. That was my time. But working in context of what the band was, I'd say that I give them credit for knowing more than me.
And the basis of your disagreements with them over suits and publishing and things like that, is that just simply come down to percentages? Because you were credited on the material, but does it come down to the nature of the deals that you made?
Boy.
Or what you can and can't say about it?
What it was contractual. All of the problems we had were contractual. All I had asked for was to be treated fair, you know? Not much more than that, you know? Publishing is like owning your house, owning your car. If you don't own it, you're leasing it, you're renting it. And then there's people that think that they want to, if they sit in your car, you're taking them for a drive. At some point, they'll turn around and say, well, I want your pink slip. Well, why? You know? It's down to ownership of your property.
Right.
It's really simple.
Right.
It's not more difficult than that. So the people who say that that's not important are usually the ones that want your property.
Why did you, I'm assuming it's by design that you really kind of, for lack of a better term, went off the grid. You know, people couldn't, I mean, I'm sure people very close to you knew where you were and that you were okay and what you were doing, but it seemed very much by design. I mean, I know people that live in Tennessee and in the Nashville area that are musicians, and it's such a huge musician community, and I would say to them, do you know where Vinnie Vincent is? Nobody knew or saw anything from you. That's not easy to do in the world we're in today with everyone with a camera and social media. Talk about how you did that and why you did that.
I'm not on social media. I have no accounts. There's people that pretend to have a Vinnie Vincent Twitter account, which is fake. So whoever you are out there that has that account, please delete it, because you're doing a disservice to fans pretending to be Vinnie Vincent. So,
well, your attorney Mark that's here, he can get on that too.
Yeah, I mean,
I've had those instances too.
There's somebody that says I'm pretended to be me, saying that I endorsed Bernie Sanders. I have no social media, so I've never voiced any opinion. So that's a lie.
It's strange that, it's no offense, but it's strange that Bernie Sanders,
of all people,
would going for the Vinnie Vincent vote.
Of all people. Somebody sent me a picture of Michelle Obama with a sign, "Where is Vinnie Vincent?"
Talk about some of the crazy things you've seen over the years while you've been, because over these 20 years or so, were you kind of I imagine you being sort of like in your bunker, for lack of a better term, where you're home and isolated, but still kind of with the internet maybe saying, look at these crazy people out there, what they're saying.
That's all I say to myself. And
I'm staying in here. This is why I'm disconnecting.
That's exactly why the design was written like, okay, out. I'm not going near that stuff. It scares me. These people, the stories are scary.
I'm starting to think you're the guy that made all the sense here. All of us are crazy for living in this world.
That's it. You guys are on the internet. I'm just like, give me Gomer Pyle again.
Watch the honeymooners.
Give me Ralph. Something I could relate to. So,
but that's not an easy thing to do. So, I mean, did you get to go out? I mean, there are people, myself included, that had called you for a while the Howard Hughes of rock.
That's how I felt. I'm happy. That it was a happy design to say, have fun, guys. But
were you writing? Were you playing at all? Were you still creating?
I play about seven hours a day.
Uh-huh.
I take care of my dogs.
Right.
I write. I record. I do everything I've always done. I'm not out in the public doing it, Now
you coming out and doing this today at this KISS Expo, and over the weekend you're going to meet 1,000 fans. I met people. I was here last night. People come from Australia, all over the world to see you.
I'm so honored.
Is this going to be the first sort of step back into public life? Or are you going to use this as a springboard to maybe make music and get out and do things?
I think if they want me back, I'll be back. I'm here. I mean, I've only left because the world has changed. The internet has changed. People gotten very mean. And Mark and I talked, and I said, I just don't feel that anymore. I don't feel. I just want to have people leave and saying, I had such a great time. I just it was really nice. I had a great time, and this gives me a chance to finally leave the past behind, whatever was bad, and look forward to see, whatever is there. And I don't know. It was a strange of all things. Probably one of the nicest thing that's happened is I heard from one of my old friends. Gene
Simmons contacted you.
Yes, and I think I know. It's a story I want to share with you because I love Gene. We've in the early days, he treated me so supportive, And remember where KISS was at in the days was, here comes this kid, I wanted to rule the world, and they have already ruled the world, and I came and wanted to be as much help to this band as I could, and bring whatever I could, to them.
And filling the shoes of a much, much loved original member.
Oh, forget it.
Ace.
Everybody loved Ace.
And you came into the band at an interesting thing, too, because, and I remember this, when you came into the band on the Creatures tour, they put out a press release that you really weren't in the band and filling in, and that Ace was coming back, which in retrospect we all know was not the case. So you came in a situation that was kind of difficult because you were the guy, but you really couldn't say you were the guy until the next record.
That's exactly what happened. I think there was some contractual issues that I shouldn't speak for them because they know better than me, but I think there was some problems there, and everything else was, I'm here to be whatever I can for this band, And I did feel with all my heart that this was everything I've ever wanted. There was nothing I wanted more than that in my life. Nothing. And they had their choice. There was people all over the world that would have done anything, and so I would have too. And something happened when we began to write songs together, and for whatever unhappiness there was, I think it was meant to be.
They're giving me a short time here.
Oh, no.
But I have 10 more minutes, but Derek's giving me 2.
You sure? Give us
10?
How about 5?
8 minutes?
5, please. Come on, I like talking.
We could talk for hours. I'm curious because you said Gene contacted you, and Gene. I thought it was brilliant, by the way, your response, because recently Gene said some not so nice things, and you said a wonderful thing about him, the ultimate high road response. So did Gene contact you in response to that?
This is what I believe happened. He's not been really, kind over the years, but...
Neither has Paul. Paul has been less kind.
Mean Mr. Mustard.
Yeah.
Yeah. But I love them. I love them both. I don't know why it's this continuous need to say these things, but I won't. I won't go there because I think everything that had happened was very special, and I think fans know it. I think it was a great chapter in the band's career. I don't know. I can't speak for them.
So why did Gene contact you?
This is what I believe happened. I believe that the timing of all of this, of what I'm about to tell you, had a lot to do with this. I have an email address that I hadn't checked in about 5 years. I keep it going, but I haven't checked in about 5 years.
So there's a lot of spam.
A lot of stuff in there. But it was an email I only used for certain things that were going on business-wise. And once that business was done, I never checked it anymore. So I don't know what caused me to do this. Some forces sometimes, they compel you to do something you don't know why. It's Christmas night. I said, I better check this email. I don't know, just to see if it's still there. I pay for them, but So I see 3 emails from Gene. And I says, oh, isn't that great? How nice. I wonder what I did wrong now. I wonder what he's yelling at me for now. So I figured, okay. So I'm looking at the dates of these emails, and they're from June and July. Now, this is Christmas night. I says, oh, that's like 6-7 years ago. 8-9 years ago. So no, it's about 6-7 months ago. And I said, oh wow. So I opened it up, and it had to do with the vault. And he's corralling
all these former members to help him sell the vault. So he reached out to you.
I'd be more than happy to help him. So we had written a lot of songs during the Revenge era. And I think there's one on there. One of my favorite songs, my own personal favorite songs, and it's called I Want to Live. And
it's on the vault?
It's on the vault.
So you go sue his ass for money? I'm just kidding. Mark, don't get him, Mark.
Believe me, it's
busting you.
He was a real, he was a Gene I love.
Yeah.
Anyway, so this was June. He sent me another one 2 weeks later. He gets no answer from me, And then he sends me another one in July, and there's no answer from Vinny, basically about the same thing. And I said, I bet that's why he's mad at me, So I read all 3 emails, and I said, I says, I love you, I miss you, come on back, come on home, So, and then we started emailing again. He says, I'd like to I want to live on the vault, and invited me to Nashville to receive it on stage and to meet each other again. And I said to him, listen, you said some stuff about me. And I says, come on, we're past this. I said, I just want you to know, I still love you. I love you as I always will. We had a lot of good things, and I said, let's move on. So the email vibe was great. We haven't talked yet.
So did this vault thing happen yet, or no?
Did it happen in what way?
He's doing these public things, so he wanted you to come to
April.
So will you do it?
Absolutely. I will show up for him.
Wow.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Derek's telling me I got to end. I just got to ask you one last thing. Vinnie Vincent Invasion. Looking back on that period, and those guys, of course, Mark and Dana go on to do Slaughter and have their success there. Tell me your recollections about that band. And if you were to do music again and do a band and play live again, would it be similar to that? Would you do something like an Invasion sort of concept?
If I did, I've got an expansive musical background, and part of that background was that genre, that style. Vinnie Vincent Invasion, give me a specific question, and I think you did, but
would you?
I think you
well, two questions really. I mean, looking back on that and making those records, do you feel strongly about them still? How do you feel?
I feel very strongly about them. The second record should have never happened. Rob should have stayed with the project because the basic sound of that record was like Page and Plant. It was Rob and me, you know, and the records. That first record was pretty red hot, you know. It was my vision. Rob singing, everything was just right. Second